Hey everyone, it's Kelvin here, and just really quickly, I want to show you how I made those isolated watercolor elements that I was using in the seamless pattern video. So to paint these, I just used the St. Petersburg paper texture and then the regular watercolor brush kit, pretty much just the abstract round brush in particular and the fine liner pen. Now before I export these and then isolate them, I just want to check on something in the layers panel. So all of my paper textures have this feature where if you open up the group, the very top layer is called on-off paper background. In most of my videos, I leave that off, but when I switch it on, it looks like this. Now, depending on what you're trying to make, this might be useful to have this on or off, but specifically for isolated images like what we want to make here, you have to make sure that's switched off. Now, after that, I'm just going to save these as a JPEG image. So I'll go to Share, JPEG. Then I'll save them to my camera roll. Now that's going to save this artwork as a JPEG with a white background, which is fine. I'm going to go to my gallery page now and then open up that JPEG as a separate document in Procreate. So I'll go to Photo, and here's the one we just exported. Now when it imports it back in, it looks exactly the same as it did when I was painting it within the paper texture, but if I open up the layers panel now, you can see there's just the one layer there, just the placed image. And this is the one where we want to cut out the background. So to do that, I'm going to grab the selection tool and set it to automatic. And I'm going to tap and kind of drag out here in the white area. And that'll let me set the threshold of the selection. Now I don't want it to be too high where it's sort of going into the artwork like that. I want to set it to basically to the point where it just barely goes beyond the edge. I think that looks pretty good. And there's also this sort of isolated area, so to include that in the selection, I just need to tap on it. Now once all the white in the background has been selected, I'll open the layers panel, tap on that layer, and then click clear. Now that selection was active, so by hitting clear, it basically just deleted or cleared everything that we had selected. So we still see a white background, and that's because the background layer, the background color layer is still on. So I'm going to switch that one off. And now we just see the regular alpha channel that Procreate shows, this kind of black box pattern. And now's a good time to zoom in and look for any mistakes that might have happened with the selection. In this case, I do see this one. This is a very small mistake, and I'll just fix that really quickly with the eraser brush. There we go, that looks a little bit better. And depending on the complexity of your artwork that you're removing the background from, there might be a couple of situations where you need to spend more time with the eraser to kind of clean up those edges, but this one turned out pretty good. Now the background is removed. All that's left to do is separate these elements each onto their own layer. So if I open the layers panel, you can see my leaves and my flowers, they're just on this one layer. So I'm going to use the selection tool to copy and paste each element onto its own layer. So I'll grab the selection tool, set it to freehand, and I'll just circle one of the elements like this. Then I'll go down here and do copy and paste. Now when I open the layers panel, you can see it's copied that onto its own layer. So I'll select the original layer again, do it to the next leaf here, circle it, copy and paste again, and I'll just go through and isolate the rest of the elements this way. And there we go. Each of these 4 elements is now on its own layer, and I can use these just like I did in the seamless pattern tutorial. We still have the original layer down here where they're all together, but I don't really need that one anymore. So that pretty much wraps it up for this little mini tutorial here. Go ahead and use the link here to return back to the seamless pattern tutorial, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.